What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Cheeky Midweeky, where we are making strength and conditioning not boring anymore. And today, this will not be a boring conversation for you because hot topic, pew, 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 for all of the football strength and conditioning coaches out there. The word conditioning test is going to be coming up. Camp is coming up for you. And yeah, your boy, the people's strength coach, Justin Lima, I will be talking to you about this today. Now, why am I talking about this with you? It's because we've talked about this here at Strength Coach Network before, and Keir and Scott and Eric and everybody that was at William & Mary when they created the tribe test, shout out to them for that, because when I learned about it when I was at Towson, changed the game for me, and hopefully it has changed the game for you. If you are not familiar with the OG original tribe test, go ahead, click the link down below, and you can learn about it. We will be talking about the OG tribe test, and again, let's also just start off with the fact that there is still death to 300s, death to 110s, sticking with what those guys had talked about, because 300s and 110s, they do violate, as Keir talked about in the OG presentation, it violates the biomotor, it violates the bioenergetic. Like the reasons that we're adapting, I'm suggesting adapting the original tribe test is to make it more standardized for you in terms of, like, I'll give you exact recommendations towards the end of, hey, use this app, set it on these things so you can always have it be reliable. Because remember, when you're doing things and you're collecting data, you want it to be valid and reliable. So you want to be valid, testing what you're supposed to be testing, reliable, it's repeatable. And by making it repeatable with a specific app and setting it to certain things, now you're never going to have to worry about, like, oh, did the athletes go too early? Did they go too late? How can I I can't be there because I'm sick, or, my coach might not have the same cadence as me. You don't have to worry about that anymore when you follow these steps that we're going to talk about later on in the conversation. Also, this proposed method, you're probably going to get more buy-in with the sport coach just because A, it's a little bit longer. B, they're going to think it's harder because it's longer, but you can also sell your coaches on the fact that, hey, it's 4 quarters. It's 4 quarters in a football game. Who can be tough in the fourth quarter? Who can set a PR in the fourth quarter? Who can pay attention in the fourth quarter? Who can not be tired in the fourth quarter? And it's now not arbitrary words. It's specific. It's measurable, which is exactly what you want to be with it. Another great point about doing this is you can now do 2 sets of 5 whenever, because if you remember the best practices document that came out from the NSCA and CSCCA in terms of the joint statement, you need to make sure that you're only doing 50% of your biggest volume conditioning test whenever athletes come back. So when you use this protocol that we're talking about, you're going to be able to implement a 2x5 whenever you want. And you're still going to be safe, and you're going to be doing the best practices as governed by the 2 governing bodies of strength and conditioning. So let's get into it. What are we going to do? Instead of doing 1 set of 12, because again, that is still really, really hard. Okay. I am not poo-pooing. If the original tribe test works for you, cool. What we're recommending right now is the Strength Coach Network football test instead of the tribe test. And this Strength Coach Network SCN football test, it's going to be 4 sets of 5. We will still be utilizing the same in terms of, work to rest, or in the same exercise. So you're still going to start in a 2-point stance, not in a 3-point stance, standing up, and you're going to be running 20 yards down, changing direction off of the foot instead of off the hand, and running back as far as you can in a rolling 30 seconds, 5 seconds on, 25 seconds off. The difference will be now you will have a work to rest ratio in between sets of 1 minute and 30 seconds. So instead of the total time to complete the test with the original test being 6 minutes, because it's a rolling 30 seconds times 12, now with the sets and reps, it'll take 14.5 minutes. So now that it already takes longer, you're going to get that coach buy-in. Remember, you are docking points if people touch the line with their hand, or if they're not touching it with their foot. So sport-specific angles, you're not bending down and all the way down and hitting your hand with the ground. You're changing direction with the foot, and you're deducting a point if they miss the foot. You're deducting a point if they touch with the wrong foot. So there you go right there. That's attention to detail. So you can already be selling it to your coaches. Hey, attention to detail. If they don't do this, there is an instant penalty for them. Remember, it's an assessment. You are not doing this as a training modality. I'm going to interject, and Scott Kewen posted that because I think it was Scott over at URI posted something about Keir and William and Mary and what they did with the tribe test. And again, shout out to them for that. And then Scott made a disclaimer to remember that this is not to be used as a training modality. So I'm not telling you to do 4 sets of 5 and then, to get them ready for it, do 4 sets of 6, 4 sets of 8. No, you are still doing max speed work. You're working on max recoverability. And then this is to see how you've been able to improve the ability to run fast and change direction fast and then recover well. That's what this test will do. It will assess that. It is not a training modality. I cannot emphasize that enough. But again, you're showing that you're docking players. Hey, I assessed them. They did this wrong. They lost this point, and I can tell you exactly about it, coach. And then you can then start to talk with the coaches. Hey, Johnny, Johnny false started on his in the third quarter, right? Johnny also couldn't do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, now you can then start to be adding more and more value when you're with the coaches. You take off points if they false start, take off points if they hit with the wrong foot, if they miss the line. This then allows athletes to be specifically measured. Hey, how far did you get in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter? And then you can start to have your decay. Like, okay, first to second quarter, you went down by 5%, but then second to third, you went back up. And then, but you fell back down in the fourth. Like, whatever it is, whatever situation, you now know specifically what it is. So now you specifically can create an identification of this athlete. And hey, they can put out really well, but their recoverability, from rep 1 to rep 5 in the set, or maybe it's, set to set, like you have more ability to collect more data and see where you need to work with an individual athlete. And that at the end of the day is what it's about, but it also creates that digital thumbprint and fingerprint of who the athlete is. And then you can be talking about it in transferability. We're living in this transfer portal world. It'd be pretty sweet if we're able to adapt this across all football teams where it's 4 sets of 5. And then the athlete, let's say, arbitrarily keep math simple. So let's say if they did 25 every single time. So 25 times 20, I think that I have no idea. I think it's 500. 25 times 20, 500. So now you can say, hey, this athlete's a 500. And if he transfers anywhere, if in the NFL, he goes from team to team, he's a 500. And now they know that this athlete's a 500 and now he just ran a 450. Well, he's only at 90% of his lifetime best in terms of conditioning. So now you have a good specific number that can travel with the athlete. Again, you're able to have that number, and it's not a VO2 number that comes from an on-field assessment instead of just, they ran on a treadmill, or, they rode this bike. Like, it's standardized because of what we're going to dive into here on how to make it exact standardized. It's hard because it's 20 reps. It's longer because it's 20 reps. It's 4 quarters. And again, you can safely follow the guidelines of both governing bodies of strength and conditioning and do 2 sets of 5. And that's still going to suck. Let's call it what it is. That's not going to be easy to do. If you think it's going to be easy to do, go maximally run 5 reps, 20 yards down, come back as far as you can, 5 seconds on, 25 seconds off with a 1.5 minute break. And like, that's not easy to do. So you can still always be able to do that because you've now documented this as your standardized test. So let's talk about the exact standardization practice. Now, the way that I would do this, it's the exact way that I did this. You would get the app Tabata from iOS. I'm not sure if it's on Google Play. I'm assuming it is because it's a free app. It looks like a clock with the T in it. It's orange and black. I'll show you exactly what it looks like right here. So if you just boom, all it is, this T right here. That's it. Okay. Get that app. Then you open it and you go to the little settings icon. You're going to set the initial countdown to 10 seconds. You will then set the exercise interval to 5 seconds. You set the rest interval to 25 seconds. You set the number of sets to 5. You then set the recovery interval to 1 minute and 30 seconds. Set the number of cycles to 4. Then you want the interval beep to be a digital beep, and you set the 3-second beep to a short beep. Now, this will allow a coach to measure 1 or 2 athletes at a time because now they're not having to be the clock. I remember Mike Boyle had said this before. get a stopwatch. So that way a coach does not actually become a stopwatch. You as the coach do not need to be the stopwatch. You need to be the coach. And that's what doing this standardization will allow you to do. You have it all set in the Tabata app. You no longer have to be the cadence. It allows you to coach, but it also allows you to scale it with any of your assistants or athletic trainers. You can now have it taught and it's scalable. Let me show you exactly how this would sound because I have my Tabata app set up. So once it's free, so you're going to have to deal with a couple of ads before you get it going. So I just had to deal with an ad there. Skip video. Come on, skip video. Here we go. All right. X'd out. All right. Hit. So when I hit play, listen to this.
Starting your Tabata workout. Get ready.
Here you go. 3, 2, 1.
Exercise.
So now you tell the athletes to sprint.
Rest.
So now they know and they hear it on the loudspeaker like, hey, there's that beep, 1, 2, 3. If you see an athlete false start, it's easy because you now don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm communicating it. And the rest is rolling. They're getting set up. I'm looking at it. It's 10 seconds. You can tell the athletes, hey, 10 seconds are up. Or you can set this to have a beeper at the halfway point. Or here you go.
Exercise.
So now they're sprinting, they're running, they're hitting the line, they're running as fast as they can.
Rest.
Now you're writing how far they went. So that was the second rep, so it should be left leg. Now they're going back to the right leg. It's, again, very simple. You have it all standardized right here for you. If you would roll all the way through it and do all of the reps, I mean, so here's about to be rep 3.
Exercise.
All right.
Rest.
There it is.
Exercise.
There's 4.
Rest.
There's 4 rest.
Exercise.
There's 5.
Rest.
There's 5 rest.
Recovery.
Now it tells you about the recovery.
Exercise.
Then it tells you to exercise, right? So it's going to take you all the way through it. And now it's standardized, right? Now there's no more thinking of, hey, how can I get no, it's scalable. It's standardized. It's valid. It's reliable. And like I said, does this mean that the tribe test from them is gone? No. I just think that this can be the Strength Coach Network football test, conditioning test. Like this is a 4x5 standardized test that we can push out. And if you have more time, if you have the ability to do this, I think it can give you that scope to be able to look from set to set, rep to rep. And this is an adoption of what we did at Towson. So at Towson, we would do a 3, a 5, a 5, and a 10. Now remember, this did not mean that we were training for the test. No, a 3 because it was a 3 and out. See them under ideal situation. A 5 2 times because that was what the average workload of plays in a set was. And then we did a 10 for the whole reason why they did the 12 was the worst case scenario. Now that also allowed us to do a 1 set of 10 with athletes that were incoming all the time. Because remember, it's 50%. And then we just be able to measure, how that 1x10 was versus their 1x10 when they were tired. So this is why after, learning about the tribe test, learning about other coaches doing different things that I did, I like this 4 sets of 5. You can measure set 1 reps 1 through 5 or set 2, 1 through 5. You can measure set 1 to 2, 3, 4. So shout out to DeMarco as well for what he was doing down at Elon. This has been adopted from it's pretty crazy, the number of strength coaches in the CAA, what we were able to learn from and whatnot. Hopefully this helped all of you out. If you want more information on this topic, we have it on our YouTube channel. All of that stuff is free, but we have even more premium content inside of Strength Coach Network in the members area. Go ahead, check it out in the link down below. You have a $1 trial for a day membership, or you can save 2 months payment with an annual membership. Check us out, strengthcoachnetwork.com. Thanks, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Keeping your certification is essential to staying hired as a strength and conditioning coach. Both of our long-form courses, Fundamentals 1 and Fundamentals 2, offer CEUs to the NSCA, the NCSF, as well as the ASCA professional development points. Click the link down below to learn more about our education courses, which are both over 20 hours long and allow you to learn from some of the best practitioners in the field of strength and conditioning.